Good morning, Planar Geometry. Alright, so today we are focusing in on the mid-segment of a triangle. So we've talked about all the special points inside of a triangle. Now we're ready to move on to one of the special segments inside of a triangle. The mid-segment of a triangle is simply the line that joins the midpoint of the two sides of a triangle. And it has some special properties to it. And in order to explore those properties, I would like you to open up Geogebra. There should be a link on your desktop, kind of like mine. It'll look something like this. Okay. My laptop is not as advanced as yours, so I have to do this to open mine up, but you can just click on your web icon on the desktop. Once it opens, it should look something like this, and you should have this perspectives thing on the side. Choose the basic geometry perspective. If you weren't able to see that little thing on the side, you can also go to view and choose the graphics one. Okay. So in this view, basically we have all the tools that we had for constructing with a compass and a straight edge, but they're just on the computer now, so it's a little less frustrating to do these things. Okay. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to make the triangle. I'm going to show you how to make the mid-segment, and then we're going to play around with it a little bit to see the two main properties that I want you to know about the mid-segment of a triangle. Okay. So first things first, we're going to have to make our triangle. A triangle is made up of 3 lines, so that's what we'll use. So this is your lines tool. Go ahead and click on it. Okay, if you click on the little down arrow, you can see there's a bunch of options, but we want this top one, which is what it automatically selects, which is the line through 2 points. And then you just click somewhere, click again, and there you go. So there's one side of our triangle, A to B. Start by clicking on B, and then click out somewhere else, so maybe right there. That'll be your second side of your triangle, and then we want to join up A and C to make our third side of the triangle, so make sure you click on C. Go over here and join up with A. Okay, Geogebra is pretty nice to you. It'll kind of lock to points. Okay, so as long as you get somewhere near the point, it should lock the line onto it. Okay, make sure it's doing that because you want all these points to be related to each other. Alright, now what I'm going to do to make the mid-segment is I'm going to find the midpoint of AB, and it'll be somewhere around here, and then I'll find the midpoint of BC, so it'll be somewhere around here, and then I'll join up those midpoints, and that'll give me the mid-segment. Now to find the midpoint, I need some method for finding the exact center of this line, and it can't be measuring because, as you can see, I don't have any measuring tools in this window. So what I'm going to do is, if you remember how to make a perpendicular bisector, that's exactly what I'm going to do here. And if it's a perpendicular bisector, that bisector goes right through the midpoint, so that'll help me. So to make the perpendicular bisector of AB, I'm going to go up here and grab the circle tool. Okay. And we want the circle with a center through the point. So wherever you click first is going to be the center of the circle. Wherever you click next is going to be how wide or the radius of the circle. Okay. So I want a circle whose center is at A. So I'm going to click on A, and then I'm going to drag my circle out until it locks onto B, and I'm going to click there. So there's my first circle. And then I want a circle whose center is at B, and it goes through A. So I'm going to click on B, so my center is at B. I'm going to drag it out all the way to A. I'm going to click there. Okay. Now, a computer program, I can clearly see that these intersect, but the computer program doesn't know that. So I have to go and I have to click on point, and then I have to click, and you can see that the circles light up when you are on top of both of them. When you have that, go ahead and click so that the point is on that intersection, and same thing down here. I've got both of the circles to light up, so I want my circle to be, or my point to be right there. Grab the line again, the line through 2 points. Click on D. Go through E, click again, and there we go. So this is the perpendicular bisector, so that means this point right here must be my midpoint. So go up and grab the point tool, make sure that both those lines are highlighted, click, and there you go. You have a midpoint of AB. Okay. I don't necessarily want, as I go through this exploration, I don't want all these circles and everything just floating around, so go over here and grab the select objects, and then go on top of one of the circles, right click, and you'll get this menu right here. Right now this object is on show. Click on that and it'll hide the object. So it doesn't necessarily get rid of it, it's just not showing. Okay, so do the same thing. Click on top of the circle, right click, click on show object, and that'll hide it. And I don't really need this line either, so I'm going to click, oops, if I can get it to highlight, there we go. Right click, show object, and that'll hide it. Okay. So the next thing I need is the midpoint of this side over here, and it's going to be the exact same process. Okay. If you are still struggling to get this, or you didn't follow me quite as quickly to get this midpoint, please pause the video at this point, rewind it, and go back and watch it again so you can get this midpoint, okay? But let's say you're ready to get this midpoint. That means we're going to do the exact same thing. So grab your circle with a center through a point. Start at C with your center, go through B. Take that same tool, start at B, go through C. Mark the intersection, so grab your point tool, mark the intersection of those two circles, mark the intersection of the two circles down here. Grab your line tool, the line through 2 points, start at G and go through H, and then grab your point and mark where these two lines intersect. And that would be your midpoint. Okay, and then same as before, grab the move or the select objects cursor, and then right click on all of these circles and lines so that we don't have to watch them forever. So right click on all these things. There we go. And I can even hide these points too if they are bothering you. Oop. So you can hide all of these things. Alright, so I promised you that the mid-segment of a triangle is the line through the midpoints of two sides. Well, I have my midpoints of those two sides, so let's grab a line and click on F, go through I. Okay, so this line right here is the mid-segment of this triangle. Okay, and if you remember back to, this would be called the base of your triangle. So here's my mid-segment, and here's my base. And now we are ready to do some exploring. So go ahead and grab your cursor, okay? And let's look at the relationship between the mid-segment and the base. So grab any of your points. I'm going to grab B and whip it around a little bit, okay? Look at what's happening with the mid-segment and the base. In particular, notice the direction that these two lines are in. Even when you drag around C and A, does it look like FI is ever going to intersect with AC? It's an interesting question, okay? So this is going to be question number 1 that I'm going to ask you to answer in a quiz on Moodle. Okay, so this will be question number 1. The mid-segment and the base of the triangle look like they will never intersect. What is this called? Okay, so that is question number 1. Question number 2, to answer that, we are actually going to do some measuring. So now I'm going to show you how you actually measure in Geogebra. So go over up here to the view, okay, and this time select algebra. And you should have a little window that pops up here. So this is if all these points were plotted in the coordinate plane, these are all the points plotted. We're not necessarily so interested in that. What we are interested in is this function will let us measure the distance between F and I and the distance between an A and C, and how it's going to do that is we go up to the line, click on that little down arrow, select the segment between 2 points, and we're going to draw a segment that goes from F, so click on F, and go over to I. And click on I. Okay, and notice this little segment thing popped up and it says K is equal to 2.25. So that's actually the length between F and I. So the length between F and I is 2.25. So let's do the same thing. We still got the segment tool. So click on A, go over to C, and then you should have had a second segment that popped up and it says that the length of this one is 4.5. Go grab your move or your cursor here and move it around. Okay. See if you can make FI and AC different lengths and watch those two numbers. Okay, what is the relationship between those two numbers? There's a definite relationship there. So how could I get from one number to the other always? Okay, so that is your second question that you will have to answer. Okay, so these two questions are in a quiz on Geogebra. Go ahead, or I'm sorry, in Moodle. Go ahead and go over there and answer them. So question number 1, the base, mid-segment, and base of the triangle look like they will never intersect. What is this called? And question number 2, describe the relationship between the length of the segment and the length of the base of the triangle. All right. Happy GeoGebra!